Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War Petrahulk Smash event, in which the Petrahulk is added to the game. So of course, the main thing that we have going on this week is the first week we ever have a Legends Reborn in Gems of War. This is the main new feature added in version 6.4, technically the other feature being a new kingdom. However, this was the actual new thing. So as far as this feature works, it's basically an alternative way to obtain pets. It'll make it a lot easier to actually be able to get power levels now, as many kingdoms require you to upgrade 3 or 4 pets to level 20, and now this will be easier than ever due to this new feature. It can be assessed in 2 different ways when it's available for the 2-week period. One is going into the Games tab and then clicking on the Legends Reborn tab. Alternatively, you can click on the corresponding kingdom that has a little icon next to it, and then click over on play, and this will also end up bringing you here. So there are basically 2 different parts, one where you play through the storyline, and one where it tells you to kill a bunch of stuff and you get a bunch of other rewards. There are 4 total pets that you can end up getting, 2 of which are pretty much free, or literally free. One of them is gem locked, and the other one is money locked. So as far as the storyline thing, you get to play through all the battles. This one happens to have 25, some kingdoms are a little bit different, but you get to play through all the battles that the kingdom has, and you get to see the storyline in that new format that they added in the most recent patch, which looks pretty cool. So you get to reread through a bunch of those. Like this one I haven't read for like 7-8 years, so it feels really weird reading through it again, especially in the new format, but pretty cool. Anyways, you get rewarded a bunch of pets for doing so. A new one unlocks every single 3 days, and that means the very last one you'll be able to access next week's Friday, which is 3 days before the event ends, and then you'll be able to go and get the pet max. In all these instances, you can get enough copies to exactly max out the pet. And if you happen to not get any of these pets, don't worry, you will be able to get them in the drop table immediately after, which is pretty nice. As soon as this event ends up ending, you'll be able to have all 4 of these within the drop table if you happen to not pick any of these up. However, this one is one of the really easy ones. It does go up to, I believe, level 140. Yes, definitely 140, which is pretty comparable to like Explore 12 or so. So it's not too bad. So you can end up still killing out with whatever you'd normally use for high-level factions or Explore 12. Whatever team you use for that, you'd be able to use for the higher sections as well. Anyways, as far as this page now, essentially how these unlock is you kill a bunch of green anywhere. You'll probably already have this unlocked just from, just naturally playing the game, especially over the course of 2 weeks. Very easy to end up getting 300 green kills absolutely anywhere. So it basically breaks down to 3 different reward tiers as you're getting those 300. You have the free one, you have the gem locked one, and then you have the paid one. The free one is exactly what you expect. Pretty much all you have to do to end up getting it is just get the 300 greens, and you're already good to go. You get all the copies to be able to unlock and fully max out the Dryad Guardian. The next one, and actually the most useful one, I even have a team that we'll be showing once we go over all the teams. King Avelorn, of course, most notably used in a Life and Death Weaver team, is probably his main gimmick, 50% elf start. He's definitely the best beneficiary of any of them that are getting these extra points. Basically what these pets do is give up to 5 points to a specific troop. Obviously if that troop is already good, it's going to become even better, and if they're already bad, they're not really going to become much better. So that's pretty much how they work. This tier ends up costing 1,350 total gems. That might sound like a pretty big number, but you have to keep in mind, normally to max out a pet, let's say if it's like a Wednesday event, or if you just found a pet and you want to go max it out immediately, would normally cost you around 2,500 gems, give or take a couple hundred. So being able to do it for 1,350 gems is pretty good value. This is also the first time ever where we have access to getting a pet gnome bait and a cursed gnome bait, basically as a free-to-play player. These, prior to today, have only ever been money locked. There's never been a non-money method to ever obtain them until now. Basically, the first battle that you end up doing in PvP will end up giving you the pet gnome battle and the cursed gnome battle. So you can end up getting a pet active for your guild, as well as getting the cursed gnome baits, which will give 10 to 15 of those little curse shards. And then there's the paid path. Do keep in mind, there is also a bonus. Basically, the paid path can be seen as both of these, as when you get the paid path, you'll also be able to get the bonus, assuming you also did the gem one, which if you do in the paid one, you probably already did. So essentially, these are locked, all these bonus ones here are locked behind having all these previous ones, which basically means is locked behind the money. It does cost a total of 80 if you were to go all the way, which is pretty pricey. The most noteworthy thing here is the probably the 4 D-books all the way at 15, which also gives you the other little bit of reward there. There's also a triple Anu, which is kind of like a Nisha, though not quite. That's also over there. Overall, I would say it's not really too worth it, and of course you get the max pet. The pet isn't giving any good bonus, though. It's just for Yasmin's Chosen, and overall it's pretty skippable. Here's also a graphic made by Hawks. They've been making quite a few amazing graphics for the game, and this is kind of an overview. I normally mention their stuff whenever we cover the weekly stream every single night when we do our 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time stream, because whenever we do the Monday tasks, they actually make a nice graphic of what all the objectives are, but they also make a bunch of other graphics, and here's a very nice one kind of explaining over all of the things, the level ranges, the 1,350 gems for that one pet, 300 kills you need, even has like the full breakdown at the bottom that you need 300 green kills, 1,350 gems, $80 if you're about to do the money thing, and that would end up unlocking everything. But do be mindful, all 4 of these pets will be completely unlockable just through the normal pet drop table as soon as the event ends. So as soon as the event ends, like, you could find a pet immediately and just randomly find one of these 4. So you don't really have to worry about if you're missing on any, if you happen to skip on the gem one and or the money one. Though I would advise going for the 2 free ones. The 2 free ones being, of course, getting 300 green kills, which you get from right here, and the other free one being just doing these every 3 days and going in and doing the kills on them. I'm not sure if it locks you out of the previous one if you don't do it prior, so I would advise doing it within the 3-day period, just in case. This is something where you don't, I believe, have 100% confirmation on, but I'll find out probably on Tuesday when some people might get locked out of it. But I believe you could do it at any point, but I would still do it within the 3-day time period. It's pretty quick. You just kill them out with whatever you normally run for Explorer 12, stuff like that. Like this range right here is pretty much what you run for like normal, like mid-range Explorer. Over here is like more like Faction or Explorer 12-ish level. So overall, it's mostly just like level variants of Explorer, and pretty similar battles in that regard. They're pretty random stuff as far as what the battles are. They're definitely not what the normal Kingdom battles would be. But anyways, that's everything with Legends Reborn. We have that over the next 2 weeks. Definitely get the 2 free ones, maybe even the gem one. Money one, probably not worth it, as you'll just be able to get in 2 weeks anyways, with enough luck off of the Pet Gnome drop table. Anyways, let's go into some of the more normal things that we have going on this week. So this is once again a event for the Hellcrack Kingdom. Of course, Hellcrack coming out as of 2 weeks ago. We still have the battle pass system for it. Do keep in mind, as you guys probably already see, we did end up losing 3 crowns due to the little bit of glitch that we had the last weekend, where you can only get 9 out of 10, though I can confirm it has been fixed. It is now 10 out of 10. When we will get compensation for the 3 missed crowns, I have no clue. Probably in the next day or so, I would assume. However, sometime this week we probably will, with a little mail saying, hey, we messed up. Here's like 100 gems or something to go skip a tier, or, you know, something similar. Hopefully at least do 200 to make up for it, and also still have enough to skip. But anyways, as far as the troop itself, let's start all the way from the top. So this thing is pretty useless. You're basically never going to use it. If you're bothering to get this, you're getting it for the Kingdom upgrade or for the Arcane. It ends up gaining a bunch of life boosted by Gargoyle Gems at 8 times boost ratio. I guess in the context of something like Arena, it's kind of okay, though as Ultra Rare, maybe not as much. And then it pulls the enemy to the front. So this is kind of okay as like a, like if you wanted this mechanic, you're just going to use Rope Dart. Like, if you want something that can move the enemy to first slot, you're just running Rope Dart instead. So there's almost no situation where you're running this outside of a arena option because you want a tank that moves the enemy. It's pretty much the only situation where you would ever end up putting this into your team, as in normal gameplay, he's basically just useless. He has a Daemon construct, but there are better constructs out there to be able to synergize with the new hero class of Geomancer, so not much of a need to get him other than for anything but upgrading purposes. Aside from that, we have the event key drop table. Event key drop table, I would advise waiting till this weekend. This weekend, we are getting 2 things on Friday. We're getting a new mythic, and we're getting a new faction, of course, both of which for the new kingdom. The main thing relevant about the new mythic is the event key drop table. If you click on the drop table right now for the event key drop table, you may notice there's a 0% chance to get mythics. It's not even mentioned here. However, event keys normally have a chance to get a mythic. There is currently no mythic available for the kingdom. However, that will change this Friday. So that means what should happen, unless there's some kind of glitch, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you should be able to event key for the new mythic. So I would highly advise, if you want to spend event keys to unlock things from the kingdom currently, I would advise waiting until this Friday, as any of the event keys that you open will have a chance to get the mythic. So even if you intend to open some event keys this week, at least wait till Friday, so you might also pick up the mythic for free, which would be pretty nice. Or, you know, corresponding with the event keys you were already going to be opening anyway. So if you have any intention to open event keys this week, definitely wait till Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as it will have double synergy to also be able to at least get the mythic. Whereas right now, there is literally no mythics in the drop table, so not too worth going for. As far as the full drop table, one thing to mention is there are actually several things not in the drop table, so I should probably go over that real quick. So as far as what is not in the drop table, this includes the Adakite, the Eternal Sentinel, the Nabusa, the Tower, and Zenith, as well as the 4 faction troops that are coming this Friday. However, what is in the drop table is everything I didn't mention, as well as the Mythic this Friday. So that would include the Petrahulk, the Petrified Golem, the Hellstone Gate, the Herald of Torpor, the Chernabog, the Craghound, the Chaldony, and if you do it on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you will also have a chance of getting the Mythic. So that's the breakdown. And yeah, it's basically just those 5 that you can't end up getting. And basically any that we don't have right now, the 2 legends and that one are the ones. And obviously this one's from the current raid event that we'll be getting to actually right now. So as far as the guild related event, we do have raids this week. Comes with a weapon at 250 gems. So if you spend 250 gems, you get this weapon. Overall, it's kind of average. If you're going to be using a weapon to synergize with the kingdom, you're going to be running Stone Slicer. I know quite a few people don't have Stone Slicer yet if you didn't pick it up from a while back. However, we'll be rotating at some point and is definitely something to keep an eye out for. However, this will be, I guess, an okay alternative to then. It creates a bunch of brown-red. It's definitely not as good as the capability that Stone Slicer will end up having, but it's still an okay double gem creating weapon. Nothing like super over the top, but kind of worth messing around with. Nothing like super meta is going to be using it, at least relative to Stone Slicer. Like, it's not that good. But, you know, you can still build teams out of it corresponding to the new kingdom. As far as raids, it works as you normally would expect. You go through all these initial battles, and then you start fighting a Zugoff in every single fight where it's 3 enemies and then a Zugoff. Generally, as far as how you end up running it down, is you end up having the boss slayer, and you just end up targeting out the whatever the boss troop is in a given battle, and then have everything else as support for the rest of your team. And it is restricted to Hellcrack, so this is going to be beneficial as we can now use the Geomancer hero class now, and get a 50% mana start for almost the entire kingdom. As long as they're a construct, you'll still be able to get a mana start for them, which will end up helping out a lot. Next, as far as other things that we have going on this week, this Tuesday we will be having a Sinner Mirage, or not Sinner Mirage, a Depths of Sin faction event, the one corresponding to Sinner Mirage. This Wednesday we're going to be having a new pet for the... Actually, which one is this again? I completely forgot. Oh, yeah. That's the, I know which one that is. Like, the icon, like, was fading into it. But this is the brown gem bonus pet. So, like, for brown gem mastery. But yeah, it's a little bit of a weird image there. But yeah, it's just brown gem mastery. I was trying to remember for a second. But yeah, brown gem mastery on Wednesday. That's a new one for Hellcrack. Thursday, we have Geomancer class event again. Of course, we just had the hero class come out the other week. However, now we have the class event once again. So you can get EXP for if you haven't already maxed it out. And, you know, just get a little bit more leveled if you haven't already gotten it to level 100. And this Friday is when we have a lot of content going on once again. Not only are we going to be getting a new mythic for Hellcrack, but we're also going to be getting the new faction, which brings in 4 new troops, a rare, ultra rare, legend, and epic. You'll be able to get a new weapon, you'll be able to get a new pet, and, you know, all the new stuff that a new faction would bring with it. Anyways, as far as the Soulforge is concerned, this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, that the Sparkinator has been added to the Soulforge. So if you're playing free-to-play, I believe this is the first accessible time where you have access to Sparkinator. Of course, he could technically be found at any point, even right now in the Glory Gem Guild or via Peach's drop table, although the chance you specifically find him is so absurdly rare, even though he's theoretically been in the drop table for probably about a month or two now. However, this is the first accessible time where free-to-play players can end up getting him. Unfortunately, he is pretty useless. There's nothing really special about him. He uses that bomb mechanic, which is among one of the most underwhelming power gems. Actually, probably the most underwhelming power gem we pretty much ever had. As if you're already destroying enough of the board to even trigger them, you probably already have a better mana accumulator than what bomb gems even do. And overall, just not too good. It's definitely not worth crafting, but if you are free to play and it's like one of the last few things you needed, it might be worth considering, as this is the first time you can get it. Otherwise, it's pretty underwhelming and not really something you need. Aside from that, the rest of Soulforge is also kind of underwhelming. Definitely not really anything under the must-have category, except for maybe Carandera. Carandera is very situational. There are alternative ways to curse, so I wouldn't necessarily say Carandera is that required, as if you really want a cheap, like, early game, mid-game method for it, you normally just run Mirage Queen from the Sunken Fleets faction. And just end up getting that nearly for free because how easy it is to get legends down in Underworld comparatively, especially compared to a mythic. However, its main gimmick is that it is impervious into a 50% chance to curse all enemies when matching for an extra gem, making it one of the best cursors, if not the best cursor in the entire game. The main thing keeping it from being consistently the absolute best is not guaranteed that a single extra turn will give it 4 times curse, but generally if you take a few, if you already have a team set up that can extra turn, you're probably getting enough extra turns where you don't have to worry about it not triggering. But the main gimmick with Carandera is you normally use it with Obsidious to 4 times curse and 4 times stun the entire enemy team. Do keep in mind, the mythic that we're getting this Friday does have the capability of both curse stunning, if I'm not mistaken, was his main gimmick. So he'll be able to go and kind of have that mechanic and you won't really necessarily need to use this depending on what kind of context of the team that you end up wanting to use. So you do have alternative options, and very rarely do you have to actually use Carindor unless you're like really using him for his yellow deny, but nonetheless he's still a pretty good option to consider. Aside from that, the weapons this week is pretty much everything that we already had the other week, as it is corresponding to the Hellcrack. So pretty much anything that you would have picked up in the previous Hellcrack event is just here from 2 weeks ago. So nothing really new here other than this, which you just get from the event. Alternatively, if you're not spending 250 gems into the event, you can get the new weapon this way if you want, the Watchful Blade. But aside from that, just all the small things that were here earlier, like this little weapon and stuff like that. Nothing really too good. Every single thing here you can just skip and you'll be perfectly fine. Anyways, next order of business. Let's go and get into a bunch of teams. So of course, all these as per usual will be in the description below if you want to go and copy and paste any of them. Let's start all the way from the top. So here we have the World Event team. This is basically rope dart into the Raid Slayer troop. This one ends up using it more so for its 5 times damage as well as its skull reduction here. So basically we're going to rope dart the Zugoff, drag it first, and then we'll end up hitting it for 5 times skull damage. If that doesn't kill, we have our ability that also does 5 times skull damage while getting some explode. We have the Churnerbog here for mana accumulation, while also having Brownstorm, and we have this guy here just for a little bit of barrier. You can end up putting something more offensive in last slot if you so choose. I just went a little bit safer here with a 4 times barrier option. It also covers every single color, even though he's subtracted on green there. Next, we have a cheaper version. So this does not use Rope Dart for anyone who might not have Rope Dart. It also uses on the epics and below. So this uses obviously the raid boss one. You want to be always having this so you can end up targeting out Zugoff. In this case, we're using it primarily for his ability, not for his traits. So we can target this. We're then running a double Chaldonani in order to get a bunch of browns, and really, really good for doing that. Of course, we're using it with Geomancer, so everything's getting 50% mana start, similar to the other team. And we're just kind of spamming that, getting our mana, black mana going to chip it down, and using this to kill out the raid boss before Zugoff can get a cast. And it runs pretty much like any raid event. We're just rush down the Zugoff and then kill everything else. Next, we have the level 20 to 100. You could also technically run this the whole way if you so choose. And I finally got to be able to show this one. So I believe this is the first faction event where we can actually get away with running Geomancer properly with Stone Slicer into a pure construct team, as is a red-purple restriction. So yeah, we can end up doing this, get a bunch of brown mana accumulation, a bunch of explodes. Stone Slicer, insanely good. I can't wait till this comes back around. Next Drug Zoom event, we'll be able to get it again if you don't have it. However, it creates a bunch of brown and purple, boosted by constructs. Is obviously really good now that Geomancer is not only a construct, but is used in a lot of pure construct teams. And Gargoyle is one of those older constructs that's actually pretty good. And of course, we're still getting a lot of newer good constructs that it can have synergy with. But the main thing that makes this even more broken is it uses purple while creating purple. So not only does it create brown, which is a very prevalent construct color, because so many things create brown, use brown, utilize brown, but also you create purple, which feeds back into yourself, which is absolutely insane. It's among one of the better double gem creating weapons, especially as of Geomancer. Even before Geomancer was decent, but after Geomancer, it's absolutely broken beyond belief. It's really nice. It's among one of the better few. Like it's probably top 5 of any of them that like double gem create like this in this category of weapon. It's definitely one of the top 5 of them, maybe even top 3. It's pretty high up there. Unfortunately, it's not around if you don't currently have it, but next Drug Zoom event, you'll be able to get it. Other than that, we have a pretty standard like Mang Zugoff build here. Obviously, for this event, you have access to purple, so you can build literally anything Thrall Leprechaun related, however you want to go about it, either for the lower range or for the higher range, depending on what you want to do. You have access to Angry Mob, Thrall, Leprechaun. Like, there's definitely not a lack of good mana accumulators and just put it into a damage source. In this case, we're just running it with Zugoff Mang, and you can do the same thing for the lower range if you so choose, instead of going down the Gargoyle route. Next, we have the Pure faction here. So as far as Pure faction, Tartarus actually pretty insane. He's one of, actually, I believe he's the only Underworld troop currently that has boost ratio based on the enemy stats in such a way, which is very, very beneficial, as generally speaking, or almost always, the enemy will have more stats than you. So you end up getting a lot of extra damage potential by boosting based on their attack. So he can normally, I believe, 2-shot stuff, if not 3-shot, and can get a lot of value. And you just kind of spam him out and go in that way. Iron Jaw is just here simply for tanking. He has 50% score reduction. He has a bunch of life and armor gain. You generally only cast his ability if he's about to die, because you don't want to mana block on purple. But you just click his button when you don't want to die, and he just tanks, and then you just kill it out with 3 Tauruses over and over again, which is why the banner set to double yellow, so you can get his mana a little bit quicker. And also why the second color is into him as well, because you're mostly just worrying about Taurus. Iron Jaw is just here to make sure you don't die. and to keep your team alive for all 4 if you can. Next, we have the Geomancer class event. We have this going on this Thursday. A couple different ways you can run this. This particular team runs double or triple Chaldony into Black Manacle. For the earlier battles, you probably want to put Black Manacles in first slot. Otherwise, you're just spamming Chaldony until you throw down the Black Manacle and just repeat until you win. And pretty much how Chaldony would normally function. And lastly, I did want to show a King Avelorn team. So right here, we have Lamishtu, Life and Death, Arachne Weaver, and King Avelorn. You've probably seen this team or variants of this team quite a bit. Main reason I wanted to show this team is mostly because King Avelorn. So if you notice over here, there's like a billion pet bonuses. However, we're about to see the relevant one. Right here, Avelorn's Hound. This is the new pet that was added as of today. And as you can see, we have 5 to all stats. That is locked behind the 1,350 gems. However, that is much cheaper than maxing out a pet by other means. So overall, if you were to get any of them, well, other than the 2 free ones, it's definitely the best of the 4. Out of all 4 pets that they end up adding, this one's actually going to get a lot of benefit due to its usefulness in Guild Wars and even just in this team in general. It's also a 50% mana start troop, so if there's ever like a super good mythic elf that gets added to the game or something similar that he can synergize around, he can end up being used for. Obviously, this is probably his most noteworthy team in the current state of the game, mostly for defend, though there are some offensive situations where you might mess around with it. But yeah, he's definitely the biggest beneficiary of this. Obviously, 5 to all stats to any troop isn't like a huge difference, but there are troops that gain more of a benefit, particularly things that can hit all enemies simultaneously, which he does, because that basically means his 5 magic is translating to 20 additional damage, which is pretty solid. Also troops that utilize like any kind of stat, like let's say like Rowan. Unfortunately, Rowan was not one that ended up getting it of the 4 pets. However, let's say it did. 5 additional armor and 5 additional magic. Well, 5 to all stats, but those 2 are the relevant ones. That would end up being a total of 15 additional damage for something like Rowan. So on some troops, they benefit more than others, and he is definitely one of those that benefits more than the average troop. So definitely pretty nice in that regard. But anyways, guys, that'll wrap it up for now. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below. If you want to see the full stream that we just did, it was a 2-hour stream. The first hour was basically going over all the Legend Reborn stuff. If you do want to go check that out, we did that earlier today. We'll also have it linked in the little side card over there if you just want to click on that. And of course, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be doing our standard Gems of War stream, just going over all the tasks. We also get the tarot card today, though the tarot card's not really that useful. Though we do get Medusa soon, so that's going to be nice. And of course, this Friday, we get the new Mythic, we get the new faction. We'll be doing that as another 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time stream. So we do that. I've been doing quite a few of like reset time streams for bigger stuff that's been happening in Gems of War. So if you want to check that out, we'll be doing that then as well as our normal streams every single night. Anyways, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Best of luck with everything. Still have any other questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below, and I'll catch all you guys later. Goodbye, everyone, and thanks for watching.